When I was in the field, when Autodesk started introducing the countryfication to the channels, I was in Philippines and I was introduced as the country manager for Philippines. So I told them, before I went to Philippines, I spoke to my geography. I spoke to you all know what geography are about, right? The people who look at feng shui and all those kind of things. So I asked him, did I go to Philippines? There is a little bit of joke about that. Actually, 2006, or rather FY06, which is this year, it's a good year for the people born in the year of the dragon. Okay? So whatever you want is going to come in.
You're born in the year of the dragon.
I'm born in the year of the dragon. Edmund is born in the year of the dragon. Frank is born in the year of the dragon.
So many dragons.
Jamal is born in the year of the dragon. So who else is born in the year of the dragons? There's another dragon there. So it's a good year for the dragons. Okay, and it's just something a little bit crazy, but even before that,
I hope Big Cap is born in the year of the dragon. Because ISD has nothing to do with Jamal.
Don't worry, I'm from ISD. But even before that, sometimes when we work, as we go along with our life, we always have a little of deja vu thing. I always get this good feeling that this is a good year for ISD. Alright? And I'm pretty sure that we'll hit 100% of our product sales. I'm talking about product sales. And we hit this milestone this year. Next year, rest assured, everyone in this room will get something from it. And it's not just going to be an iPod mini too. What is an iPod mini? How much does it cost in the country? 175 Sing dollars. You guys will get a lot more than that. Okay, that's my promise to you guys. Okay. Okay, now all said, that's just a little side line on there. The sales track this afternoon, I'll keep it simple, I'll keep it light. It's a very important thing that we share information, we learn from each other. We get feedbacks from each other. So what I plan to do right now, I know this is actually the agenda we talked about. We have country presentation going on from different countries. Unfortunately, some of them are missing because they are more eager on the technical matters than the sales matters. So what we do is that let's try and go through this. You don't have to really present as in the formal presentation. What you need to do is just come up here and say who you are. Yes, you're the first person to talk. Let's talk here.
Waiting for you.
Your company focuses on, as in relation to Autodesk business, how you did last year, what works for you, what didn't work for you, what are pain points your customer have, mainly anything. I guess it's very important that we take feedback, we hear from you guys, and for all you know, everybody has the same problem, everybody has some common issues. And what I like to do is to take this feedback and move forward to some sales program or sales initiative or whatever that we can try to do something from there. Okay? So let's hear from Sam, the champion of last year in ISD sales.
To talk to you. Okay. After lunch, usually we all fall asleep. So I try not to let you fall asleep. The reason is he's telling me 200% next year. So if you want to beat me, you have to be more than 200%. Okay?
That's a good one. Good comment.
Well, let's start with this. Myself, with Autodesk product, since AutoCAD 2.18, when I junior in my university. Okay. The reason is I'm taking a class in engineering in the USA, and one of the classes drafting. So my first teacher in drafting is from India, and I tell you the truth is he talking 100%, I understand only 1%. The rest of them is just very fast English speak. So what I try to do to pass that drafting class is go to library and get the book, how to do drawings in computer. The class is AutoCAD drafting. So since I start read the book, I feel like AutoCAD is very powerful because that one is only 286 PC machine and use 5.25 floppy disk to this. When you boot, after you boot, you take it out, put the AutoCAD and running, so and start from that. I get stuck with drafting. So from that point, I feel like AutoCAD is my world because I like drawing. From that point, I changed my engineering, electrical engineering, to like design instead because so I can learn more CAD. And the first one in the university is undergraduate student. It's a teaching assistant, we call TA in US, like helping another student. Usually only master degree or master student teaching undergrad. I'm only one is undergrad and teaching AutoCAD in that. So I get in touch with AutoCAD since that time. Then after I finished the university, I work in the lab in the school. I thought I am the king of AutoCAD because I know so many commands, keys so fast. So I decided to get a job in AutoCAD field. I get interview, I show them how good I am, where is my record, how fast I can make a drawing. First day, I am nothing in there compared to engineering department with AutoCAD user. In the school, it's just only tiny thing. So I feel like in the future, it's not only you've been learning and that you can use, okay? The only thing you can be expert on it, you have to get a partner around you, helping you. You're good in this function, teach me. You're good in this function, teach me, and then you can become one higher and higher. Okay, but forget about this story. Now I'm in the business. I'm feeling the same thing, that is my customer. Okay, so when I talk to the customer, we need to get from them first what they know and what they want, and then we go around him and say, okay, that's what you know, and what you want is take 1, 2, 3 steps and finish your work. Would you like to do one step and finish your work? Most of them say, yes, I'm interested in teach me what's the solution. Okay, so what we're doing nowadays is educate customers. Let them know. Why I succeed in Autodesk Maps, because of customer we go out, they don't know Autodesk Maps. They not even know Autodesk or AutoCAD have map or GIS. Because what they know is AutoCAD. So sometimes you go to the customer, we say, it's AutoCAD map. I know that's what's wrong because we don't have such a program called AutoCAD map. We have Autodesk map. But we have to put the word AutoCAD because they know, oh yes, that's the product. But why you have map at the end? So we have to explain or educate them why you use AutoCAD for, or what the reason you're using AutoCAD for. Most of them telling me, okay, I'm using draw that and that. We also in Thailand selling regular AutoCAD because that customer want to just make a drawing 2D. We sell LT, we sell AutoCAD. We also even sell AIS in my office. We sell civil, like 2 weeks ago we sell civil 3D. Because after we educate them, we know what they want and we give them what they want. But in AutoCAD map we make success because when we talk to the customer and say, I want to make a drawing, this is what kind of work. My question, because if I want to sell map, I said, you want your object or AutoCAD talk to the database or not? Now we have to tell them why you need to talk to the database. You draw one line, you want to click and say, this line is a pipeline, what size of the pipe, when is the last time you've been serviced that pipe. But if you're using AutoCAD, one line is a line. So we try to tell them that way, okay, to start to get them, feedback to us why they need it. And then if they say, oh, I don't want to talk to AutoCAD, talk to database, I just want line is a line. Okay, so we know that guy in AutoCAD. You want 2D, 3D, or say AutoCAD, yes, we supply them. But sometimes we can ask them again and say, you start drawing from scratch, like make a drawing, or you get it from your subcontract, or get it from the people who hiring project to you or give you the project. Yes, some of them have it. And then we find out, what kind of format they give it to you, how old of that. Some of our customers get DGN Some our customers say, I don't know, they just give us a blueprint. And we need AutoCAD because what I've been hearing, CAD is AutoCAD. So we take that blueprint into CAD, that's what we're looking for. We have to educate them also how to take that blueprint into CAD, what else you want to do, how to modify the drawings. After we focus and we find out this customer is for which vertical product. Now we go to customer by customer and telling them what else you can do. Because we have very strong team in technical, and we have a very good team of Autodesk to help our technical. I can guarantee almost everything they want or they wish Autodesk product can do. And we make it success also. You know, if I have time, I'd like to show one of my technical in another room. He has the idea, well, we have a customer, have a civil drawings. The example, he have the civil drawing is like a cross section of the sewer pipe of Bangkok. The Bangkok department came to us and said, we have the base map of Bangkok, the pipe all over the cities. But they want to see the cross section of each section of the map. But each map is drawn by AutoCAD by the subcontract. It's nothing related to the map of Bangkok at all, except the number it shows. This section you need to go to number ABC and you have to take ABC and do it. We find out the easy way, you know, we take ABC and link to the map and bring the map, link to the cross section and show on the screen, it should be enough. But we want to sell map guide because they have the pressure from me and said, I want map guide every month. I want at least 4 map guide every quarter. So somehow, you know, he figured out, why don't we put map guide in? See the map guide 6.5 reading DWF, reading DWG. We do a sample for them by taking a map already created by customer in AutoCAD and using map guide to read that AutoCAD file on the screen. First thing they ask, can another machine see this? Can another machine see it? We said, yeah, we put map guide on your network. Everybody load at the same time. Everybody happy because they never see the map on the browser. That's fast. But we said, it's not just that. You know, you're interested to pick one point and then you bring the drawing of that cross section over. And he said, yeah, that's what we're looking for. We spent 2 or 3 years to find the solution. So we did the sample for them. And yesterday, one of my engineers, after do presentation, he said, that's what they're looking for. Now the bidding or the tender, they asked us to help them create the specification so we can start bidding and tender within a few months. Okay, this is the sample. That's why, you know, we tell the customer they might want to grow. Example, customer want to grow apple. Why don't you telling them using this type of apple and you get more production with almost the same amount of money. You know, that's why we have to study the customer and go back to them and tell them what we get from you and what we give it to you is real success, what you're looking for. That's a part of the solution. The thing is helped us winning last year because of the project we were is 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, and then in past 4 or 5 years we still support them without them paying anything. We not make any money, but they bought one map guide and like 5 Autodesk map, and we teaching their technical until they start their own product. And in past 4 or 5 years, you know, we still answer them. They never get upgrade, never do anything. But last year they came to us and said, I bought you 1 map guide and 4 map. It worked very well in 1 provinces because that's a sample provinces. The thing is, we telling them, why don't you put every provinces to the same solution? Okay, that's why they start last year and said, okay, I want to add 50 provinces. So we sold 50 Autodesk map to them, but we also sell 50 map guide to them. The reason is we said, oh, in Thailand network is very bad. You know, you need wireless network, you need the internet network to talk to one server, you know. And in Thailand, infrastructure is not that good or not that fast. So we take a chance to tell them, put every province one map guide server. That's very hard to sell a map guide server that much. But with the lack of technology in Thailand, you know, compared to other countries, we need faster. So we success selling 50 map guide server. So each province have map guide server. They can have local in the same provinces talk to map guide server, get information, and also in the future we telling them if Thailand network is fast enough, all 50 servers can talk together. Now, if you in Chiang Mai, you want to get phone for your daughter in Phuket, you can just go to Chiang Mai office and open the Phuket file server and find your daughter apartment and add the phone number and everything. By the time your daughter go to university in Phuket, she have the room ready with phone number and everything. So they bought it from our sales talking this way. Okay. So the solution for us is we let the customer trust you, and you prove to the customer that when they trust, you have to make sure it's as you have to prove them as they trust you. Okay, and that's why our success in past 4 or 5 years because of the trust. One of the presentation yesterday, you know, I said trust. Okay. Well, that's much about it.
Okay.
You need any more idea or question? Just.
And I actually told him that he can actually write an email because this is almost like the ADN support thing, but it's just that when you go to ADN, you get the development as well. As a reseller or a channels with Autodesk, you do have a direct support email, you do have a direct support telephone number, which you can call up and they promise you like I'll respond within 2 hours on certain kind of cases, I'll respond within 3 hours for resolution, that kind of thing. They do have that. If that's not available or you're not sure of that, what I can do is that I'll post it on OTW, what are these things and how you can get to that. Because I know that sometimes you cannot really depend on the AEs running around or even me to give you an answer. Okay? So I'll take note of that and post that up for you guys to follow up. But what I think it's really incredible is how Sam has picked himself up, you know, from ground zero, he picks up and how he actually has a strategy to move forward in doing big business. Okay? And independence is one thing that is very, very important. Not that we don't want to support you, but it's just that sometimes you just can't turn around fast enough. Okay? So there's a lot of lessons we can learn from here. Okay? Sam, anything you want to add?
No, I suggest every dealer have hand on ADN. I tell you frankly, because a lot of things in there. A lot of things in there. Especially for your support if you are in sales, because sometimes the customer said, I cannot install the program. You can find the ADN. They have a patch before the Autodesk have the patch. They have a bug fix before the Autodesk have it on the web. So if you have your hand on ADN, I suggest, you know, at least dealers should have ADN account.
The basic ADN subscription is $1,500 US per year. You're entitled to 5 users on any of the ISD products. So it's, if you look at it, strictly speaking, you are getting 5 NFRs straight away off the shelf from them. But I think the only thing that ADN required to do, you to do is to produce a business plan on what you want to develop. That's about it. And Adam is the moderator for ADN. It's there now, it's going. And right now, you can actually put more people there and chop down more trees along the way. Okay? So I think we also identified that the traditional way of doing sales call is not the right way anymore. People are looking at solutions, and that's where his marketing, his branding does comes in. Okay, so that is, it's all investment. When you come to branding and marketing, it's all investment. Any questions for our friends from Indonesia?
I'm with our marketing and channels manager, Mardu, as well as our partners, resellers from Cebu, down south, Infonet, and which is Doris Lim, and Robert Pacifico. At the back is from MicroImage, also one of our resellers in Manila. Sam actually has been in the business also with Autodesk for quite a number of years. We're in the business for 15 years. Although for ISD we started up sometime in 2000. For us, it's quite a different scenario in the Philippines. As I was telling Edmund before, that probably for your country, your top customers will be the government for government infrastructures, projects. For us, although government is still a customer for us, but it's not. It's actually the least of our priority as a top customer, because as you have heard yesterday from Ronald from BSA, he mentioned that there are some legal problems, corruption and such. He mentioned that there's a customer that they targeted for anti-piracy, and there's just one phone call from the government or someone from the political. Then it's called off already. You see, so it's not only that, as well as the budgets. The allocations of budgets for projects tends to be manipulated, so it actually affects also for us with regards to going into the customer, in particularly with regards to government projects. Although this with regards to infrastructures, utilities and such. We also have private, semi-private semi-private owned utility companies, although there is still also an influence of government with regards to those utility companies. So it's actually we're not proud of it, of boasting on that kind of situation, but we're working on more on the commercial rather than on government customers. Although, as you have seen with regards to the presentation early this morning, Philippines has actually more market on the civil part construction rather than on the map or infrastructures. So that's where we actually are more stronger in the market. But still, we're working on, and we're positive on developing on the map side. Again, I've also mentioned to Edmund before that because of the situation in the government of the Philippines, we were actually asking if there could be some sort of special arrangement with regards to the government licensing. So basically, what went? I've also been in the ISD for since last year, for 1 year now, more than 1 year. And something I've noticed also with regards to channels and how we work with our customers, which I also try to develop on all our sales and channels, is that, as Sam has mentioned, they were focused on getting to know the customers, nature of business, processes inside the organization, try to know what they're doing inside, how they're using the product, what I've noticed is that some in our channels is that they're more focused on just pushing the product itself and not getting to understand the business of the customer, which eventually they could not foresee. They could not see the need for each divisions within the organization of the product. So this has been quite something that I plan to work on with with the Philippine setting as well as our partners, is to apply this what Sam has mentioned, is to get to know more the organization, what are the processes inside, how they're using the product. For mapping, actually, Esri has been quite some time in the Philippines, so they are more first in the market, and mostly some of the government as well has been using them for quite some time already. So I think that's one thing I want to work on with our country, is to focus more on the customer. And Philippines actually is still adapting on the product of map. With regards to civil, I think they're more open to, and there's a lot of opportunities there. We don't see any problems with regards to civil industry. With regards to the map, is something I want to work on this year.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, John. It's a very classical case of investment done in a country or done in an organization that went down the wrong track. I'm not saying the company did the wrong thing, but the situation over here is that it's very important that once you build a business, you have to keep it going, you have to keep the focus going, you have to keep the momentum going. Because once you take a bit of a laid back, and then you start taking things for granted, this is a situation that actually has happened in Philippines. Part of the things that actually caused what has failed not to work in Philippines was actually the economics. Right? You look at the country, the size of the country, but why is it that people are not investing there? You look at the size of the country and the amount of possible business, why are investors shying away? Okay? Now, that's why I said the political situation does have impacts to the economics of the country. Now, when this thing starts going, you have to keep it. When the business starts picking up, you have to keep it going and maintain it from there. All right. Now, what I've learned a lot from Philippines over here is that was actually government projects that you mentioned. How many of you knew that Philippines has a new airport? Do you all know that Philippines actually has a new airport? What happened to the project? You don't want to touch?
The new project. The Philippine airport was actually done a few years back. Actually, it's just recently opened, but
the project has been done a long time.
A long time, yeah. Still,
too, but then
there are some issues actually within that project. Still has some.
Yeah, there was a problem. In short, the project was built. There wasn't money to pay back to the person who built the project. So they went into a lot of political.
The airport's already done, but it's not operational.
Yeah. So what we're trying to put across over here is,
I'm sorry.
he's both a technical and a salesperson. What he needs to do is to walk across the room.
And then my sales call from office, they need me to approve PO also.
Now what happens over here is that when we do our business in our country, we really need to observe the political conditions very carefully. Once we see something is wrong, we have to start finding contingency, we have to make plans, which means to say the ability to strategize fast and to catch things way ahead of situation is important. Yes, we can't be 100% sure, right? This is a case where you invested in a government project, you couldn't get the money back. Just imagine what you've done in the project, you've invested in it, and when the project is done, you can't get the money back. Okay, so we have to know all the situation, we have to be able to manage risk, and we have to be able to find ways around this. I like to use another case in Thailand as an example. Recently, there was a project in Department of Land that was awarded this year. Also 50 maps and 1 map bank, which was 50%. Okay, the project was actually going to be deployed over different phases. Okay, one of the risks over here is that whenever I noticed most of the countries like Thailand, Philippines, I'm not sure about Indonesia and Indonesia and Malaysia. But in Thailand and Philippines, I heard people saying this before. When I'm going for a big project, when I do a budget, the first thing I budget for is hardware. When it comes to software, nobody picks budget for it. Okay? Now what happens is over here is this. When the project gets approved and you start doing, what does the vendor do? They squeeze after you for software costs. So, because software is it's not something tangible, you don't get to see it up front, you don't get to feel it at all. Because of that, it's being taken for granted. Alright, so one thing to learn from here is that when you work with your customer, make sure that software cost is being allocated. The point over here is that the story which I'll try to put over here is this. You probably get a feel that there's a risk in the software, that if you break it over a certain time, when the project is done, you might not get the other half of the project being paid to you. So what we did was the channels actually really strategize, and we say, can we actually pay out upfront everything for the project, deliver everything first on the product, and let them develop and deploy after some time. So it's a strategy that the channels on the ground have taken, and they try to convince the customer to buy everything up front, pay up everything up front, and then slowly deploy it on the front. Okay, which means, like I said, the message over here is this. We have to observe the kind of risk, we have to learn how to manage risk, and we have to strategize how to overcome the risk in some way. Okay, there's no guarantee, there's no 100% you're going to get everything, but you've got to have a plan, you've got to have some strategy. It may not work this time, but when you hit the same problem the second time, you know how to overcome the next strategy. Right? Philippines is a classical case that there was a lot of things that we learned from them. It was like, I remember the days where, do you all know Tay Rujiro, or the Philippine police? When he was there, the sales in the Philippines was like going up, picking up from the runway or whatever. Right? But after that, when the economic in Philippines got hit, everything went slow, just off the cliff. And when that happens, the channels have a hard time reconciling the investment because it goes down. There goes all your ROI plan and everything because you have to start thinking of ground zero again. Now, when situations like this happen, what will happen to your channels? What will happen to your resellers? They become opportunistic. When they become opportunistic, what does it do? If it's an AutoCAD, I will grab the sales whenever I can. I no longer want to spend time investing and educating and investing, all right? They'll start to sell whatever I can grab, I'll grab the business. And AutoCAD became things that everybody said, you want it, I'll give you. I don't think. Okay? It's which means that economic actually plays a big factor over there. But you have, being businessmen in your country, you have to take into consideration such matters to manage, to strategize, and to approach. Don't let this thing come in and take you by surprise, and there goes all your investment. Right? That is why I show you some slides on GDP, I show you some slides on inflation, I show you some slides on dollar investment. Not because I just put it there for for decorations, because you tell my boss, oh, we know all these things very well, but it helps me manage my risk. Okay, there's no guarantee that the GDP factors are right, there's no guarantee that inflation that I mentioned is correct, and there's no guarantee that the IT expenditure information that we have It's enough to give you confidence. But all this goes into contributing your assessment of risk. Right? And we cannot eliminate such things away from our equation. Okay? So, put it across. Our business model has to evolve and change over time. Right? You notice, that's why I mentioned about the economics, the situation, the environment. You observe, you listen, you hear, and you have to be able to move accordingly and change and upgrade as it goes along with time. A business model that works 10 years ago may not, I say it may not, but it may still work again today. Alright, so we have to look at the situation and manage it from your professional judgment. Alright, so a lot of points that I mentioned is worth taking up, so I'll take note of those from the country point of view. One of the things you observe from them also again is building focus. Alright, people focus in there, investment focus in there, and effort in delivering solutions to the customer. Okay. Alright, so the last one is actually from.
I represent ACA Singapore. Okay, it's just a short history if you don't know ACA Singapore. We've been in the CAD business for I think more than 12-13 years. Okay, I joined ACA last year to take care of the ISD business in Singapore. Okay, as you know, Singapore is not physically big or geographically humongous. We don't have 50 provinces or 1,000 islands to take care of. Okay.
7,700. And 7,700.
Yeah. So in the geospatial information space, we can say that we have to do a lot of creative things besides just doing maps. Okay, so when I joined the company, my first thing was to learn how to do the ISD business from Edmund and from ACA Singapore. Okay, we started off by trying to do product bundling with printers. We try to do software bundling with other software, antiviruses and stuff like that. But these are the things that didn't work in Singapore because the commercial space doesn't need a mapping software for, let's say, a project in construction or development wise. They don't see a need to have a mapping software. Okay, so traditionally, Autodesk map users and map guide users are from the government. Okay, the government departments are the ones who plan infrastructure. They are the ones who engage developers to build highways or develop housing estate. They are the ones who plan where to put the pipe. So these are traditionally our users for Autodesk map. Okay, HDB, which is the Housing Development Board of Singapore, is a heavy user of Autodesk ISD products. So is CPG, and of course our military, who has been our long-term users. So actually, why we didn't perform that well last year, because those accounts are not closely monitored and maintained. Okay, so since we don't have a very big commercial market to work on, and the traditional users, traditional customers are already been there for a very long time. What I feel now that we missed is failure to maintain, to keep in close contact with those that are already using Autodesk product, which is some of the government departments. Okay. Saying that Singapore is small and there's no commercial market for ISD products is also some kind of an excuse, because as you all guys already know, Map Guide is not just about mapping. If you are willing to invest in solution building, there can be almost no limits to what kind of solutions you can provide to your customers, even in the commercial sector. Okay, so our direction this year will be probably focusing on project selling, solution selling. But that will be a very, I would say, high ladder to climb because of the lack of experience in this section, that is solution building, project selling. Okay, so I'm very glad that I'm here to listen to all the other partners in the ASEAN region who has already been doing very well in the solution selling, project selling. But I believe the investment they put in and the time they have spent developing all your solutions is something that I won't be able to know because I've only joined less than 12 months. Okay, so what I'm sharing with you today is, how should I put it? To be in the result business, to be in the result business, part of it is about maintaining a sustainable, keeping a sustainable run rates to have income coming in every month. So my idea of FY06 is to have this part built up, have a sustainable run rate business, but should shift, I would say, more than half the focus on solution sales and project sales. But this might take more than 1, 2, 3 or 4 quarters to have something coming in the future. Yeah. So as for, I'm not pessimistic. I'm willing to. I'm now trying to build both areas that I've mentioned to have a sustainable run rate business and a project sales business. How I'm going to do it, I will share with you. But how it will work, I only can share with you maybe next year or 2 years later. Good. For the run rates, I'm going to attach raster design to all ACAD based products.
Wow.
That's to say, any ACAD users must know what is raster design. At least they know that there is such a product that exists for them. So if that pick up, we have actually expanded our target audience to not only the infrastructure industry but manufacturing, architecture, electric engineering industry basically. So that will be our run rate business because you don't need to create a solution for us to design. Then for project business, basically we are starting from rock bottom scratch. Okay, we are building it. Currently, I have been getting in touch with customers to sell them the idea of having a geospatial information to manage properties, to manage their school, to share information across their regional offices. So, but these are ideas. They haven't come out of the water yet. They haven't seen anything. We haven't seen anything. So this is a very, I would say, step. Investment, yes. It's definitely going to be an investment. So we have to have partners that are willing to take the step with me and move forward from here. Like I said, hopefully in 1 or 2 years' time, I can share with you more success stories than what we're trying to do instead.
Or even this year, you make less than 100%. Okay, we feeling we not important because of last year you winning, you have award, people know, like your name on the list or whatever. But if you not meet that target, like how you feeling those dealers or those distributors in different countries, and if you not meet target, that means you might not meet target also, right? And the position is go back to you and say, well, you not meet target, and in position very bad, you might upper management of Autodesk headquarters might look at you, your team, you do very bad thing, But I like to see from your side how you feeling about this because I see so many of you people keeping come and left, soon Terrence and so many people.
We should ask KG to leave the room.
Why? Why should he say that? Okay, I'll let you answer. I will take a break if you feel that. ROI, everything is just to bring the gap that is developed over a period to a more sustainable model, which means you are like he is here today and tomorrow he should be there too, because we have an agreed plan and how to work together and do the growth over the next 5 years. So that is the kind of cultural change that Autodesk is doing across all different countries in terms of channel relationship. So it's a consistent growth path, and where both parties are involved in the growth. It is not that just give quota 1 year and then if you don't perform, then give you warning. And,
but
so that is the
if
first step.
Management is changing again. Like this year, like myself, look at like almost 10 years ago, we're not making this much. But I'm dancing with Carol Bass, walk along with her, take photo together, or the Malaysian dealer, Philippine dealer, Thai get together, we have fun, but now no more. Even we sell more. Okay, but seems to be like you want more and more.
You get treated badly for doing more, isn't it? You feel that way?
So we don't know what can happen next year, what can happen the year after that, and so on.
So you were inspired
too much, and sometimes our software is going there feeling what they need, but I still have the feed from Autodesk. We need to sell more. If you not sell more, I'm dying, because of I not meet the target, those kind of things. It never have the word enough, where you stable, because every year you add more in our quota, you add more and so on. So
that's the problem with MNC. I think we are responsible for Wall Street. We have to
do it. You need to make sure to sell that.
Yes.
But all the pressure is come to distributor, and distributor is go to the dealer. Each dealer is go to their sales manager and so on.
I think that's why.
Okay, if we have 1,000 customers, 1,000 engineering company buying new seat, and then we convert them all to subscription, or some of them is like we force them to buy subscription. And after that, we're not going to have a new seat anymore, right? Because of the subscription.
Correct.
The price on subscription renew compared to new seat is big gap. Okay, so we try to find a new seat, but new seat is maybe less and less because everybody have subscription. That's what I'm feeling. Okay.
Correct.
And then we try to go back to them and say, you buy a new seat, I have 10 engineering, I got your subscription. That means, forget about that company. You're not going to make a new seat. That's what I'm feeling like. Subscription is a good solution, but you still also telling us to sell more.
So, this problem accurate, because we are talking upgrade business cycles in the past versus subscription. So you have predictable investment for the customer's point of view. We also have predictable business from our internal point of view. So customer will budget for X dollars every year. The new seat is a different thing. New seat is probably they are expanding their business. There will be some opportunities. They hire more engineers. The companies don't do well, then there won't be any new seats. If at all, it will be subscription renewal and so on. So the opportunity for the customer every year will be renewal of subscription going forward. New seats if the company is expanding business, or new seats in the adjacent departments, and it's our responsibility to provide more so-called products or applications for partners to go and sell. So while subscription is growing, there are also the products which are growing to help customers buy more new seats or more products from us along the way. So this is just, the whole thing is 2 years old now, so you will see the phenomenon in the next 10 years. Each division is working on moving towards that path. So subscription, we have not even scratched the surface. We are just trying to educate the customers right now. More towards predictable investment from a customer's point of view and predictable business from our point of view, instead of relying on 3-year upgrade cycles traditionally that we go through. But as you said, there is a risk. There won't be upgrades anymore. There won't be new seats. If the company doesn't expand, it's going to be a problem. New seats will not be happening.
Yeah, but if
so 10 engineers, it's
in a country or LT or they get smart, and especially with nowadays we have a lot of more international companies. Okay, maybe our software is cheaper in their headquarters, and then they bring the engineer in, they bring with the software in. We can go and tell them, yeah, it's illegal. You cannot use in this country and such and such. But the license they're using it legally anyway. They bought the software from the head office and so on. Especially in Thailand, we have a lot of international companies, and then we try to go in there and say, you did it wrong. You need to transfer the license and so on. When the project finishes in next 2 years, they go home. And they're not if they want to upgrade, they have to go back to their home office and upgrade and so on. You know, they're getting smarter and smarter.
And the license manager is in there.
He said 300% more, next year you make another more, you know. So I feeling like we miss some kind of loyalty between the Autodesk and a good partner. Okay, because I'm still alive here, but I'm not sure you still alive next year or whatever. So you know, like keep changing, and then new people coming. They come to us with new thing. Okay, now forget about the past. We go for this technique. You know, we go about GIS have to be running by project base. You know, 3 months later, I said, Sam, I need more number. Hey. Call a dealer and said, can you help me with this and that? I understand because the Autodesk, especially with US corporate, is money. So stock can go out, sell. You know? But sometimes you have to understand each country, we have different ways to treat the customer. Some project it takes 3 years. Some project it's 2 months, 2 weeks. You know, like it's very difficult to predict. And then we have so many forms to do, like report. You know, like yesterday I said we have to do this form. This is weekly meeting. This is monthly meeting. This is conference call. You know, to get all information. You know, we better sell for you, but you know, some of the strategy in US or headquarters it might not work. Maybe for Thailand or maybe for the other countries. So I need some kind of friends. You know, like I tell you, to me and Edmund like friend more than a dealer or country manager. You know, every time I call him, say I need to help this and that. But what can happen if now he moved to to Philippines? We have a new Thai. It's not the same person, okay? But in the future, if he's not doing Philippines, he moved to other country. A new Philippine country manager may be different. You know, so we need some kind of cross relation. To feel comfortable to sell the product, to stick with Autodesk.
I knew I couldn't fix a structure in 1 year.
Do you want me to hear? Do you want me to step off?
Oh, that's okay.
Just want to make sure you're comfortable. Okay.
No, I'm actually very honest with the channels over here. When you look at the whole thing, I knew I would never be able to fix the channel structure within a year. So I made a milestone for myself. I said, if I can achieve 65% of the channel structure by last year, this year I will fix up the other balance, 35%. I never got the chance to do that because corporate changed the direction and I have to move on. So what happens is I didn't want to let go. I still do double roll in here, trying to fix the other 35% of the channel structure to keep it going because that's how internally, I know how it feels because internally we set our vision down the road for 1 year, 2 years down the road, even 3-4 years down the road. But we never know where corporate is going to come down and make us change our directions again. Honestly speaking, if you ask me for an explicit answer over here, I can't give you. All I can only say that we now have to rely on one thing, believe.
We used to have like friends and business half and half when we walk, we talk, right? In past 10 years. Now the business is get more higher percentage. Now friends get less and less. You know.
Great business.
Yeah, and then when we shake hands, say, hey, how are you doing? And now you go, okay, how's yourself? You know, it's getting more in business instead of friends. You know, that's what I'm feeling like. If we let go like this longer and longer, you know. Now we don't have the friend anymore, just the business, you know, or even the enemy.
I think, well, it's very difficult for the channel partners and for your customers to catch up with your pace. A very good example is that several years ago, you upgrade products every 2 years only. And then it became every 1.5 years. Now it's already every year. And you're committing already that every year you will upgrade the product because of the subscription program. Because you have to sell the subscription. So the only way to sell the subscription is to guarantee the customers that, yes, there will be a full upgrade next year.
Unfortunately, these kind of things are more loose.
It's very difficult for us to catch up. I mean,
AutoCAD Map 205, then you get
There's one to
Yeah.
I
exactly.
give you, it's
Yeah.
not, it's a difficult thing,
We
but
have
I
not even
think
digested them fully.
And sometimes the direction changes.
it's true.
There is an embargo of information.
Yeah.
But what I can only promise you over here is that when I associate the budgets that's going to be distributed, whatever is coming from corporate, I do look at your economic, I do try to bring it down as much as I can. That is why whenever I look at things, I also look at emerging countries. I look at people like Vietnam, I look at people like Cambodia. I look around and I actually go there. You know, it's like if I plan to get Vietnam into my budget next year, I'm going to start doing things now. I plan to get Cambodia in 2 years. I'm going to start doing things. And these are the things that I do take into consideration when I start planning. If I think that next year the corporate's going to throw, say, do double digit down on me, I got to think about where the budgets are going and how to spend the money from there. You know, there are some companies who are very well established and very happy where they are. Then I can't always increase Sam's budget to say, you know, meet for half the arm that is not working, that is not there. So I have to think of a way of how to create an arm so that his budget will not be drastically impacted whenever every year we go. Yes, we will reach a threshold somehow. Singapore is a good example. We reach a threshold. It's probably falling off the threshold right now. But we have to think of different ways of how to balance off the budget. And like I said, I can't give you a direct answer, but where I have to come from in representing ASEAN, I will do what I can to try and help on this side. So right now, if you look at my budget, and I work with you guys, I try to pair off the countries. If one goes up, the other goes down, that kind of thing. And that's how I do. You look at Malaysia, I did increase the budget for this year because I knew what happens last year, but I know where the economic is. So I don't. So I try to balance the numbers somehow. And yes, I can't make everybody happy, but I'll try to be at least 75% happy at some point. Okay? No guarantees. I hear your points. Your points are actually your sentiments with everyone on ground. It's also my sentiment because every year Frank will give me 2-digit growth. I'll just have to look at him blank space, don't know what to do. Okay, but we will just have to try and work together somehow.
Edmund, as far as
you know, Sam today, who's been so nice to me when I asked for help, I think it's a good testament that I don't believe that business, you just have to just be very formal about it. Whenever within my capacity that I can, I want to be more than just a business partner. Even someday I will leave some here, at least I know I have a friend in Thailand, or I have a friend in Philippines, or a friend in Indonesia. Okay? So, at the end of the day, business is still business, but there's always a human factor that makes things a lot more happy in our life. Okay? Alright, I think we will sketch up in Malaysia with Ying and in Singapore with Vincent. I also multiply that the value points are cumulative over a quarterly basis, which means to say once you perform for the quarter, it doesn't go away. It actually gets up to the end of the year. Alright? What we need to do with this value point is to give you, it's really to introduce priority. Like for instance, let's say this quarter I'm limited by a certain budget to do marketing and sales activities. Now, the higher the value point is, the more priority you be given to get fund. Alright, let's say 3 companies come back to me and say, we want to do this, this, and this. If your value point is high, I'll give you more priority to them. Alright? It's mainly to give priority in all these kinds of things. Even like Autodesk sponsored events for rooms, air tickets. Like example during ASEAN kickoff bootcamp,